Hello guys, NautoAce here, and this is going to be a follow-up on my English dub video. Basically, the one I give a list of which company do dub and doesn't, and my thoughts about it. So this is a lot of a follow-up from certain companies. So one of the follow-up for this one would be Sega. So I did mention that Sega, surprisingly, do dub most of their game, maybe all of them to some extent. I have not really keep up, but I think they do dub most of their games, except for one, and that is the Yakuza series. So, and of course, if you heard the remake of one of the Shining games, going to come out this September, is English dub. Of course, Valkyrie Chronicle, or not Chronicle, well, Chronicles was dub, but also Revolution, the spin-off that a lot of people didn't really like, was also dubbed. So they kind of dub most of the Final Fantasy Universe, Online, and Portable. They do dub their game. But of course, there is only one game that they don't dub, and that is the Yakuza series. I'm not really a fan of the Yakuza series. I do prefer them to dub the game for people to try and understand the lore of Yakuza. And yes, if you're an OG, if you have a PS2, yes, Yakuza 1 was dubbed in English. It wasn't that bad, but apparently sales wasn't really there. It had a big name there. I had two on top of my head that actually was there was Michael Rosenbaum, aka Lex Luthor in Smallville. He's the Flash in the Justice League animated, Bruce Timm. And of course, the Last Jedi himself, Walk of Fame. He finally had a star, Mark Hamill as Majima Goro. And he actually fit the part. It kind of felt like it should be more of a Joker style for Majima, but hey, it worked. Yeah, but of course the poor sales, so the sequel didn't have a dub, and then the rest of the Yakuza game didn't really have a dub. So again, this follow-up is mostly about, well, the Yakuza. I wish they had like a dub, but because of the poor sales and the lack of support in the West, because believe it or not, during the PS3 or the HD era, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 didn't really, well, 3 and 4 didn't really sell well. No matter how they did the game, it didn't really sell well, to a point that they gave up on 5 until Sony stepped in. So yes, unfortunately, when Yakuza first debuted in the PS2 in Japan and worldwide, well, I don't know about the sales in Japan, but worldwide, outside of Japan, sadly to say, even with English dub, with Mark Hamill, Michael Rosenbaum, and others, the game really didn't sell. So it's either because it was in the PS2, a lot of people didn't really understand what this game is. People thought it was a rip-off of GTA. Believe it or not, some people, as of now, still called it, quote-unquote, GTA Japan, because it is sort of a Japanese version GTA game. To some extent, of course, it's not. So that's going to be a different story there. Yeah, not only didn't really sell, and believe it or not, the game, from what I heard, I could be wrong, the game went on a negative. So that means not only they didn't make any money, they kind of owe money to the company. So that's how bad the game was. So already there was really bad, and this is one of the factors why that it went to the negative was the English dub. Because at the time, I said it in my channel about English dub, Sony did have this rule that the game outside of Japan must have English dub. And the reason behind it is for market reason, to understand, for the general audience, the general consumer, to understand, oh, so this is a game that meant for Americans, let's just say that. I mean, it's, sound like politics there, but they were trying to make it more marketable. That's the rule. So, and basically, of course, PS2 at the time, that's why the reason it's called the PS2 Era, because a lot of people were buying a lot of games for the PS2. That didn't really happen with Yakuza for the PS2. Sega, from what I heard, even cried to Sony. So they gave them an excuse, and Yakuza 2 didn't have a dub. They did a sequel, they tried it again, and once again, it didn't really sell, from what I heard. It was a bit better because they were cutting costs, but the game really didn't, once again, sell. So this is a part of, I guess you can say, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You put dub, put a lot of money in, didn't really sell. Yakuza 1. Alright, well, remove the dub, cut costs, and trying to sell the game. And had the same, I guess had the same result. I guess not a lot of people bought the game, and once again, didn't make Sega money. I guess this for a while. I know it's a follow-up to my English dub, but it's sort of connected this one, and yeah, because from this on, for a while, believe it or not, Yakuza basically it was downhill at the time. Even when it went to the HD era or on the PS3. Yakuza game didn't really sell well either on the PS3. Yup, sadly. Believe it or not, when the fans of Yakuza, believe it or not, even when Yakuza 1 and 2 on the PS2, there were fans that actually like this game that don't mind not having English dub. I mean, you know, from what I heard for the first game, some people did complain, if it's a Japanese game, Yakuza, why is it not on Japanese? You gotta keep in mind in the PS2, the Blu-ray disc didn't really fit. Plus, at that time, Sony did have a regulation rule. All game must have English dub if you want it to be on a physical release, or you can't release the game. Thus, SNK for a while was being ashy. They're being assy, excuse me. But that's a different story there. So, and again, the rule really is that unless you have a good reason why, and it's exclusive to the PS2 or the PS3, you kind of get away with it. But at the time, they do prefer all the games from Japan to be released with English dub. Moving from there, in the PS3, during the HD era, sadly, Yakuza 3 didn't really sell. That's another game that didn't sell. They tried it, didn't sell. Yes, there was some controversy. They not only they cut corners, they chop a lot of part that basically was in the Japanese. Because the reason is resource. Second was they needed to release it in a certain time, and putting a lot of those things, trying to localize it, it was going to take longer, and Sega wanted to release it on a certain date. To a point that even there was a former, that's a keyword, former Sega representative said, well, what do you rather have? No Yakuza or less Yakuza? No, I really want full Yakuza 1-to-1 ratio with a Japanese counterpart. Don't be assy about it. But of course the guy or whoever the representative, well, they part ways from what I heard. Because you don't say shit like that. Excuse the language, excuse me, but you don't say shit like that, man. Oh my gosh, dude. So anyway, yeah, that was an unfortunate. That way didn't really sell. So they actually tried it with Yakuza 4. They went all out, ratio 1-to-1, and didn't really sell again. Yes, the game didn't really sell. It was already 1-to-1. But the problem, again, I don't know. It's either some people have said it could be because of lack of English dub. And like I keep saying, you know, if you put English dub, you might be cutting some loss, but you might have new followers. But again, it really didn't work. At that point on, Sega just gave up on it and said, well, we're not going to support this game. Kind of like Capcom with Sengoku Basara. Until, of course, you know, Gio Corsi stepped in with Sony, third-party relationship. This is basically, I think, starting in 2015. So, again, for me, what my thoughts is, hey, you know, like I said, well, I'm not really a fan. I can understand the lore now, but I really wanted to speak in English. But, again, you know, whatever, that was in the past. That was, like, before 2015. Gio Corsi basically had to step in. Sony had to provide funds for Sega to localize Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 0. So for people who didn't know that, the reason as of right now Yakuza is becoming more popular, well, the reason so much it's becoming more popular is because of Yakuza, Kiwami 1, to some extent, Yakuza 0, and then of course 6. The fans were happy, word of mouth. The marketing also, and that's I'm going to explain that the marketing also have changed. I'm just surprised that Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1, since it was funded by Sony, why didn't Sony also fund with the voices? I don't get it. That'd be awesome, dual language at least for 5 and Yakuza 0 due to the fact that Sony was funding the game. They were funding the game. So, but again, you know, if it wasn't for Sony, Yakuza would probably be dead in America. Because that was the number one game, Yakuza 5. They were basically begging Sega, to bring that outside. So what was the game that you want to bring it for the PS3? Building the list, hashtag, and the number one request was Yakuza 5. So they finally did it, and then I get the smart move, and I have to admit it too. The smart move was they remarket what the Yakuza game is. The problem in the past, and the reason why also it wasn't selling, was the poor marketing. When Yakuza, the original one for the PS2 game, they admitted it that they marketed as a Japan GTA. That's why I always make that joke, Japan GTA. Yes, granted, I'm not a fan, but yes. So another thing I want to plug Alex's YouTube channel, the Backlog Battle. He has 2 videos basically interviewing the guy who is in charge of localizing Yakuza games. I'm going to link that on the description box. And props to him also. So if you want to know about Yakuza, its history, I really highly suggest watch Alex's video, because as for me to be a fan of Neptunia, Alex is an uber fan when it comes to the Yakuza series. He knows the history, he knows the ins and out, the tidbit. So if you're interested about it, links in the description box to his channel and in the Yakuza interview, the guy. And yeah, and I listened to it, it was pretty good, spot on. And the guy did say one of the problems in the past was they did try to market it to GTA because GTA was really popular. So moving on to PS4, Kiwami 1, Yakuza 6, Kiwami 2. They now finally basically marketing Yakuza as its own thing rather than a GTA, which is a good move. To a point that even Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 will be on the PS4. As of right now, it's only planned in Japan. But apparently there was an article by the guy who created Yakuza said the reason they did a PS4 version of 3, 4, and 5 was for the Western audience because they're starting to like the Yakuza game. Again, granted, the change of the market, interesting. But if you are going to, you're going to market it to the Western again, you're going to try it, my highly suggestion is, I know a lot of people prefer the Japanese, add English dub. I'm going to tell you this. If Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and if Yakuza 3's ratio content is 1-to-1, and you add all those 3 games, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 with English dub, have Mark Hamill, okay, you know what? He's cool, but I don't really care who voices who and who. I mean, I gotta give props. The Face of the North Star has English dub, or heck, dual language. Again, that should be an industry standard. Dual freaking language. Again, industry standard. I know it costs money, but if you do that, it's a guarantee you're gonna have better sales. But again, to each of their own. The belief is not there. What can I do? I'm just one guy. But the bottom line is, if they do that with Yakuza 3, 4, 5 for the PS4, I'll reconsider buying them again. I will reconsider. Yes, believe it or not, there's going to be a part 2 giving my whole thoughts of the Yakuza game, because I played most of them except for Kiwami 2. I'll probably end up buying it if it's on sale. I know I should have bought it for $50. Why wait for a sale? Because I'm not really a Yakuza fan that much. Sorry, but I know a friend who is. Right now I'm playing Shimune. I like it because there's English dub. I can understand, and whatever the cheesy English dub. I don't give a shit, dude. Seriously, I don't give a shit, man. I can understand. That's a good thing for me. I don't care how good or bad the English is for me. My standard is low, I know. But if I understand, I'm cool with it. But that's just me, one guy. Okay. Sorry, I told you in my update that this is a warning. When it comes to English dub and Japanese game, I do get riled up. I do apologize. Okay. Breathe. Okay, so technically, yeah. I mean, would it help better? Really more? Maybe. I mean, there's also apparently a Yakuza mobile and PC game. I don't know, that'll be interesting. I'll see. I mean, they got Sega mobile game. I like mobile games. I mean, that's just me. But like I said, hopefully in the future they are going to continue with the Yakuza franchise with Yakuza 7, Shin Yakuza, I don't know what, Yakuza. Hopefully by this time now, finally, gotta break that barrier. Please, Sega, please, the creator of Sega, Yakuza, gotta please consider it. Just consider it, dual language. You did it. You did it with the Fist of the North Star Yakuza game. That was props. I know that's not really Kamurocho because it's it's the post-apocalyptic Kenshiro's world, but there is I think if the Japanese has it, maybe the America also, a skin with Kiryu Kazuma, and maybe Kenshiro's voice is also going to be now the Yakuza Kiryu's voice. I'm just saying there. So again, I am just saying, maybe. Alright, so yeah, that's my first thought about it, of Yakuza not having a dub. Hopefully the future they do. There is a part 2. I'm going to give my overall thoughts of the Yakuza game that I played them, except for one, like I said, Kiwami 2. So with that, thanks for listening.